Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into the channel. I'm just gonna draw something and see if you guys can guess what it is. All right, here we go. Hopefully it's in camera view. Any guesses yet? My favorite animal growing up as a kid. Now, if you meet this animal on a highway in northern BC or in Alberta, in the wintertime especially, because they love to come on the highways and lick the salt, you're in for a big accident. These things are as big or larger than horses. And that's correct, you guys got it. It's a bull moose. I'm going to throw in some details by the antlers here. And so growing up in northern BC, I was hunting. My brothers and I started hunting with my dad when I was 6, and my dad was a hunter his whole life and all his friends, so naturally as little kids we wanted to go hunting when we were young, so we started hunting and loved the outdoors. Moose are my favorite wildlife animal, and I must say they taste very good too. So whatever we harvest, we eat. We wouldn't shoot anything if we don't consume it. And by doing that, we know where our meat came from, how it was processed and cleaned. You don't have to worry about the animal being you hear all those stories from the butchers, how they tase them or electrocute them and stuff like that. So round this out a little bit more. Yeah, this guy's the king of the jungle in his section of the bush there. Big old bull moose survived so many years. Got away from all the hunters that were trying to call him in and put him down in October, but he survived. This in frame. Let's give him some shadows here. It's crazy, like growing up in northern BC, you have to practice your moose call. So when you go hunting in late September and October during the mating season, you have to know how to call in a bull moose, right? So you have to imitate a cow moose in heat in order to attract a bull moose. And I believe only once in my time hunting up north that I had a bull moose respond, and I was on the way out from the lake going back to the truck, and I was practicing my calls, and it sounds something like this for a cow moose. Like that, right? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. And then you want to listen for a bull moose like this guy who will respond like this. So I was calling all morning, and I was sitting by a lake by myself. I think I was probably like maybe 14 or something, and my dad and the other guys are in a different area. And then it was time to head back to get out of the lake and walk back towards the truck. And then I just got out of the lake and I started walking, and all of a sudden, like just in the thick bushes, I heard like that, and I just froze. And I remember just swinging my rifle in the direction of the noise, and I was just frozen. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what the hell was that? So eventually I slowly walked out of there and headed back to the truck. And then ultimately it was probably one of these guys, a big bull moose, right? So when they go like that, he was probably getting upset that I was already gone or something. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'll never forget that. So yeah, my dad harvested a lot of big guys. All right, let's get back to the drawing here. I remember like when I was in grade 5, it was hunting season, and we were in class, school was almost over, and then we got a knock on the door, and one of the principals came in and said, "Hey, Usman, you gotta go. Your mom's here to pick you up. Your dad shot a moose." So that was pretty exciting. So got pulled out of school and very excited to get pulled out. You know what I'm saying? And then my mom drove us to the hunting area, and we met my dad and his buddy, and they shot a big guy like this. And they had him already out on the side of the road, and we have video of that somewhere. It was just a massive bull moose, right? The head was just huge. The antlers are like this. I have a picture somewhere. If I find it, I'll try and post it on here. But yeah, good old days. All right, let's get some hair coming. Let's define his job a little bit there. So moose are like a dark brown, almost like a black. But we're just gonna do this guy in a pencil sketch here. I'll fix that up afterwards. Anybody out there into hunting or anything like that? Any crazy moose stories? Drop me a line below. We were out hunting in a place called Pink Mountain. No, the mountains weren't pink, but I believe the sunrise or the sunset was always pink, so they called it Pink Mountain. That's my guess. I could be wrong. And we were camping out there, and we had just left camp, and then I had forgotten something, and there was snow on the ground. So we turned around and we went back to the camp, and then we grabbed whatever the item was, and we started walking back in the direction that we had just come from, and there was fresh grizzly tracks on top of our tracks. So they were like this big. So that's a big grizzly bear, right? So I was scared shitless, and I told my dad, like, get me out of here. So then we slowly walked back and went back to the campsite until later on that day. Yeah, you don't want to mess with grizzly bears. There was another time we were hunting out in Alaska Highway. Yeah, Alaska Highway. I think I was around 16 at that time, and we were sitting on a cut line, power lines going down into a nice spot where moose would normally come out and eat some food, and there's some creeks in there. So I had my binoculars and my rifle, and I was watching one section, and this dark image appeared like 1,000 yards away. So I'm, oh shit, it's a moose, it's a moose. So I held up my binoculars and I couldn't see. It was a dark animal for sure, and it just kept coming, it was zigzagging in the trees, lose sight of it, come back into view, and it kept coming closer and closer. And then finally, it turned out to be a big, huge grizzly bear. And every time it walked, you could see the fur just like it would shake like that. And the closer it got, you could see it was like big claws like going sideways. So then I called my dad's friend, who was not too far away, and I relayed him the info. And then we just got up and got out of there. There was another time we were walking, moose hunting again, and we were coming up to this little opening, and there was some tall grass on the left of us. And all of a sudden, this grizzly bear stood up about 50 yards in front of us. And she was standing there with her paws in front of her belly like this, and she had blood all over her nose. So obviously there's some dead animal with her. And the next thing you know, her 2 cubs stood up. All 3 of them just standing there looking at us, blood on their faces and on their noses. So my dad and I just backed up and said, holy shit, that is a dangerous situation. So we just slowly backed up. Even though we had rifles and stuff, just slowly back up and get out of there, because it can take a matter of seconds, and that mother grizzly will be on you in a blink of an eye, and you don't want to be torn up. So let's get this guy going here. We're gonna get his hair coming down. Add some character to his ears now. You know, moose have a very good hearing and a sense of smell. Let's give him some shadow up under his beard here. It's not actually called a beard. It's called a bell. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done here. We're just gonna add some water. You know, moose, their nickname, or maybe the real Algonquian name, is twig eater. because they eat the twigs. So we're just going to add some water here. We're going to have it just running in the bottom, like so. Add some shadows to the water. Maybe make that the shoreline back there. And we're gonna throw some mountains in the back there, just a little ways away. And we're gonna have it come and peek on this side there, like so. And maybe a little hill down the side. And we'll add some trees down here. Pocket of trees up on this section of the hill. These trees coming right down. You want to put a little bit of snow up here, snow top. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick drawing. And I'll put my John Henry on here. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my drawing of a moose.